Hey everyone. So for this video, I'm going to talk about Clause 5 of ISO 9001 2015, which is leadership and its commitment. So I've said that before in previous videos that leadership has to have buy-in into the quality system. They have a place in the quality system. So this is essentially the location in a quality plan or manual, whatever a business wants to call it, where you're going to outline leadership's involvement. Okay, oftentimes you'll see an org chart in there breaking down the org structure of the business. Oftentimes, it is preferred that there is a quality team in that org structure, and they would be answering directly to the top, whoever that may be. But I've seen it countless times where there is no quality system. I should say there's no quality team to keep an eye on the quality system. So it's the program manager or project lead or a director or whoever it may be, the top dog, so to speak, in that business. That doesn't usually work because oftentimes they have more than just quality to keep an eye on. They also have safety and other elements, and it's a lot to do for one person, depending on the size of the business. So I've always been an advocate of having a quality team in place, even if it's one person, depending on the size of the business. They have to be independent because they should be auditing all aspects of quality, all requirements that business may have for its customer and client or internal. But it's just, as I said in previous videos, the lack of quality hurts a business oftentimes. The cost of poor quality or no quality will have a detrimental effect. It'll hurt you in the long run. I've seen that happen multiple times where they have not met requirements and they've gotten penalized, and that took some money from their contract. No one wants that, right? So this is a chance for leadership to put their part in to the quality plan manual to ensure that the requirements are all being met, that quality is being looked at, and leadership is committed to quality in the workplace. All right. In the end, it depends on the business on how they want to actually watch over it, whether it's a quality team or not. But it's an important piece of a quality system. All right. So, Justin Buzzard back with you, aka the tired QA guy. For this video, I'm going to continue to discuss ISO 9001 2015, namely customer focus, which is 5.1.2. I've been bringing up customer and client requirements and satisfaction a lot in my videos because for most businesses, that's why they're in business, is for their customer and or client. So for this part, when you create a quality system, a quality plan, manual, you have to outline those requirements. What do you need for your customer client? What do they need? So what's the requirements? It needs to be laid out in that plan or manual. So other things to look at for your customer and client is how do you communicate with them? Oftentimes in certain fields, like say retail, it'll be in person. You're face to face with your customer on a daily basis. Other times you may be communicating with them through email or other correspondence, MS Teams, Google Meet, Skype, whatever it may be, right? You may have to give them a phone call. So you have to outline all the ways you communicate with your customer and client in that plan or manual. So oftentimes a lot of businesses look at risk as only safety risks. But under this clause, you need to look at risk and opportunities from a quality standpoint. What is the risk that pertains to what you are doing right now for your customer and or client from a quality standpoint, right? Safety is important and that needs to be separate, but there's a lot of quality related risks out there. Do you have enough people to be successful? Do you have enough trained people to be successful? Is transportation and weather an issue? Is getting supplies, materials, equipment, a risk in your business. There's a lot more that you could look at that's a quality risk. So just remember when you're putting this together, look at what you need for success. What is your requirements from them? What are the risks in giving them what they need? And how do you communicate with your customer and client? All right. So that's all under that clause 5.1.2 in ISO. All right. Something to think about. Hey, back with you to continue to discuss ISO 9001 2015. And for this video, it's going to look at the quality policy. So quality policy is 5.2 and has a couple subclauses underneath it. And other standards can mirror this as a safety policy, environmental policy, whatever it may be for those standards. But the intent behind a quality policy is to put in writing the intent behind your business's goals, essentially. So the policy normally is something that outlines what you're going to do for your customer and client. So you're going to strive for excellence, 100% customer satisfaction, 100% meeting requirements. Every business will write in a little bit different depending on their requirements and needs from the customer or client. But it also needs to include objectives. And again, those could be varying depending on the business and what they're doing. Each industry is going to be a little bit different, but oftentimes objectives need to touch on how you're going to improve things, which I'll get into further in more future videos. I've already touched on it in previous videos, but we should always be looking at improving things internally. Different metrics that you're going to be capturing to show that you're doing whatever is needed. Customer satisfaction, client satisfaction. You have to have something in place to track how you are doing, because without it, you may have no idea how you're doing in their eyes. Those are just a few objectives that you can include in a policy. It's important, though, that you communicate this because it's oftentimes the case where employees have no idea this thing exists, and they are the ones that ensure that that policy is met. It's not leadership. Leadership's the one that has to create it from top down. It's their responsibility, but it's the employees doing the work every day on ground that ensures that that policy is met for the company and for the customer and client. So communicate it, train on it, and it should be documented. Because if it's not documented, it doesn't happen or didn't happen. So train on it. So creating it is the first step. That's coming from leadership top down, and then communicating it and training it. It should be posted in a central location for employees to at least point to it and refresh themselves. All right. Hey everyone, Justin Buzzard back with you to talk about the last piece of Clause 5 in ISO 9001 2015. That's Clause 5.3. That's looking at the org structure, the roles, responsibility, who's the ones that are responsible for the quality system that is set up. Because as I've said in previous videos, not everyone has a quality team. So this part of a quality plan is designed to show the responsible individuals or section that is going to be keeping an eye on the system that is put in place for ultimately the customer and our client. So again, regardless if you have a quality team in place, this is where business will put in that person who's responsible for ensuring compliance to the requirements that are required by the business to meet the customer client requirements. How often they may report any issues. Oftentimes, and it's going to be in a further clause about quality management review. A lot of businesses may do it once a year. Some businesses may do it once a month. It depends on the size and scope of the business. But there should be reports of some sort being sent to the top leadership to ensure that we're doing what we need to be doing. Communication, of course, is important. So whoever is responsible needs to be communicating, promoting quality, ensuring that everyone's focused on the customer and client requirements, what they need, that we're doing it. One thing that I've seen in a lot of businesses, and it doesn't even matter if it's a small or big business, that there's oftentimes a single point failure. So a lot of people will be designated to do something. That person goes on vacation or is out sick, and then there's no one doing whatever that responsibility is. So it's important that you look at a delegation of authority. There should be something in writing to ensure that there's people there to cover down whatever the requirement is. So we don't have single point failures, which is a problem. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the org structure and who's responsible for what, that there's at least more than one person that's involved in it. All right? So the next clause we're going to be looking at is clause 6. All right?